This is my third time doing this because I keep messing up. All right, so got the Electribe Sampler. I really liked it because I could, it was battery powered and I could make beats or sounds just in my bed before I fall asleep and stuff like that. But the final plan was to use this kind of as a drum machine for Ableton, where if I took one of their drum racks, 16 sounds here, 16 pads here, I could hit whatever I wanted and use the Electribe pretty much as I would normally, and it would work perfectly, perfectly synced with Ableton. But the problem was how to connect it. And I looked online a lot on how people were doing stuff, and they never really showed their chord setup. And so looking at the back, I saw it had a MIDI out, made sense. So I bought an aux to USB cord. But that didn't work because the Ableton software didn't recognize that Electribe was even here. I tried just a basic aux cord to just take the audio, give up on trying to trigger Ableton sounds and at least just take the audio and record it right into Ableton. Take samples from here, put them into the Electribe, make beats with this, take the audio from this, then put it back into Ableton. That would have been a compromise I would have been okay with, but the audio sounded terrible. It was like half volume, distorted, space-time. It just sounded so bad that I knew that wasn't the answer. Then I read the manual and I completely overlooked over here there was a USB cord. So I just took this from my phone and connected it to my computer, and that worked perfectly. Ableton recognized it. But then I realized that each part is considered a different channel to Ableton, and the drum kits in Ableton are triggered by different notes. Like if I drag the drum rack right here, you see it's C2, C sharp, D, D sharp, and so that meant that the only way to really try and play this would be having to go to keyboard, and let's see. Basically, it wouldn't have worked because you can't use sequence with the keyboard. That was one of the things I didn't like about the Electribe is you can't play keyboard keys and sequence them like this. You have to almost like record yourself playing it, and then the sequencer will just kind of go by beat and then know what key to play, but you can't sequence the keys themselves. So that didn't work. And what you could do, or the only compromise that I came up with right now, is just saying that I would just separate channel 1, channel 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 16 if I wanted to, because I realized I don't even use all 16 parts whenever I'm making something. By the 5th or 6th one, I'm just kind of struggling to see what I wanted to add. And if I just divide it up, and then at least in Ableton 10 you can group stuff, so I can just condense this. How do I condense it? I don't know. There we go. So I can condense it down. And then what I would do is I would just take the individual sounds that I liked, whichever one, and then just drag and drop them over to the different channels, and then find and search the actual sample, and then put the actual sample here, and then that works fine. So then I can use these pretty much as the parts and trigger them that way. And I'll just demonstrate the different channels. Hopefully it's working. All right, go to trigger. So you got 1, 2, 3, and as I go down the pads, that's all that's happening, all the way down to 16. I think it's fair. It's not like I'm going crazy. And I have the light version, so I can only have 16 tracks open in the first place. But at my skill level, it's fine. 5 beats from a drum pad. I have it's called, I don't know how to say the company name, Akai, APC key 25. If I wanted to add any keys or synths, yeah, this is where I am right now. And this took me forever, maybe about a week, so not really forever, but I just didn't want to spend any money, and YouTube didn't really have anything on trying to connect the Electribe Sampler directly to Ableton without an interface or yeah, everyone else who was doing it had like complicated stuff or didn't really show the chord setup. So this is that video. I'm out of here.